Divine Vibe says, even a fool will speak my truth. What does that mean? Every piece of information that's laid out is supposed to be. It's there for whatever reason. Ultimately, the reason is for tempering the creations into pushing the spark to larger. What happens when gas has to leave a bubble? The bubble has to pop. If I don't want you to leave the bubble or a place where you will waste your spiritual energy, then subsequently I'll give you a body. The concepts of reality only exist on this plane of existence, but this ain't the big secret to anything. We play pinball with this shit and we still use ego, right? To say, well, I'm gonna show you something, and it diffuses the ideal. When in fact, I plays a role. The I plays a role only in the tangible understanding of where the creation lands at. That makes the I it. This is how even the words came apart when the words started splitting into different circumstances to be used in the same circumstance, even though the word phrase was spelled different. It was what it was doing. There's no need to hold the past. This is just what the past is. It's what it did in order to formulate what it was going to do. All information that is, it always was. It never changed. It's the same information, even with us, meaning our existence in a whole. Separating your value from this value is only understanding that you're here formulated on this existence. People used to say, if you're here, that's important because you're here now, and it's a lot of people that's not. Well, let me show you how more important that is. Because to understand that you're here symbolizes that you can do more than what you're here to do. Contrast is a value, but contrast doesn't have to be simultaneously used as the output of circumstances that are around you. Contrast is also the standpoint of your existence. If I am physical, therefore my contrast is higher up, because this is where the light formulates, this is where the light comes down to, this is where it hits at. So we start looking at ways of understanding the indifference. That's the way my mind think. My mind pattern should think. If your mind pattern is based off a gradual growth, rise, and then what they like to call death, then that is your outcome. That's what you speak it into existence. My mind pattern always seems to rise. I always seem to want to go higher than what this is. So even with the body sustaining, the mentality within taking different fuels will subsequently follow the mentality of what you project. That's the power of the mind. Knowing that your mind can outdo the physicalities of what ego places up in this circumference of existence, that shows you that your contract or your life contract was to beat this with spirituality. It was, I'm gonna send you back into this physical situation to see if you can rise in your spirit back to your spiritual body. That is your contrast. Your existence is the situation that you have to deal with. So if you compile your existence with other attributes of physical situations, that is the absorb. That is the situations that you become in when you keep returning to complete your contract that you signed up for. It's simplistic because it's mostly everything you need is built into the physicality to break it open. That's imagination. No one can say the spirit is nothing, because that's what you got to grow. Knowing the semantics to that, I guess that's important when you're dealing with physical things. But if I am everything and I know I can attract everything, does that diffuse the idea? No, that's the contrastal value of me being here. Me being here makes me physical. So I'm here. I can attract everything here in this existence. But if I'm going in the opposite direction of this existence, then that means that shouldn't be none of my pecurities. It shouldn't be nothing that I want to try to obtain. You know what I mean? And either way, because of that notion and the mentality of having that disdain for those understandings, they formulate around you naturally, because that's what you are in this physical. That is spirituality in its highest form. Most people say, well, you know, a lot of people has done XYZ. Well, yeah, in the same breath, but the intention wasn't pure. This is why you've seen so many inadmissibles within these actions. You have to not indulge in the aspect of experience. Experience is just what it is. You can't hold yourself condemned to your experience. And that's the reality. Like, I understand not being apart while you being apart. So, look, that's the vibes, yo. You know, I be listening to the brothers, man. They go up. I be wanting to have a overall conversation, because I know how energy feeds off other energy. And I also know how the ego works in depth. And to actually be able to shrink yourself down to carry the largest stone and still be unseen. You know what I'm saying? Think about it, like if it's 100 million giants, right? All carrying big rocks. And then one ant is carrying the same rock. You know what I'm saying? You ain't gonna really see that ant back there. It looked like the rock is just on the ground. But it's moving though. It's moving. You already know the vibes. NAGA.